I don't know if you're a history buff, but you certainly remember the word, which was sometimes daunting, the Inquisition. Remember that? The medieval Inquisition? Well, in the late 13th and early 14th century, it was still going on. And there was a young cleric named Meister Eckhart, who was quite renowned after a period of time. He went from post to post, many important posts. At one point, he was in charge of 45 convents and a bunch of monasteries. And what he had to say was really important, but he did things a little bit different than everybody else had always done it. Number one, he thought that people, ordinary people, ought to be able to connect with the divine. Didn't have to go through the traditions of the church always. He didn't speak out too loudly on that, but that's just the way he operated. And he knew that scripture, sometimes in order to get the truth from it, had to be considered metaphorically, similar to what we think of when we look at scripture with metaphysical eyes. So guess what? He was brought up to trial. He was going to be subject to the Inquisition. And in fact, he was tried, but before he could be sentenced, he died. So the sentence was carried out posthumously, and Meister Eckhart was one of those who was declared a heretic. Well, we know Meister Eckhart today, and some of those things that he had to share back then have come down to us. He was a prolific writer. And one of his most famous quotes, and the one that really fits where we're at today, was this: "If the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough." If the only prayer you said was thank you, that would be enough. Today, I'd like to talk about remember to say thank you. And if I could distill that into just a sentence, here's what I came up with. I call it a key spiritual truth. For me, it is so. Remembering who we truly are. We are grateful to the divine and to every divine expression. 3 parts. Remembering who we truly are. We are grateful to the divine and to every divine expression. We'll talk about our Genesis as creations. We'll talk about our expressions of gratitude. First of all, remember who you are. Who am I is a question. We are currently engaged in a class on Saturdays, discerning your purpose. So we ask some of these questions. Who am I? What is mine to do? Well, for me, I wasn't just a body born in 1946. Yes, I am that old.
Okay.
I'm not just one of my roles, like the role of father or the role of husband or the role of minister or the role of friend. I'm not just that. But I am beyond that, a being, not just a body, but a being created in the image and the nature of the divine. My beingness is becoming increasingly important to me. Not only am I a being, I'm a being that was created. But the plus side of it is that I'm also a being who creates, who co-creates with the divine. For me, I have both a human nature and a divine nature. I am fully human with all my idiosyncrasies and peccadillos and all of that. But I'm also fully divine because that's my legacy. That's my inheritance. Was trying to locate the time when the tipping point came and I moved from being primarily a physical being to a spiritual being. And I think I figured it out as I was reminiscing. I figured it out in the blue room. Now, I guess I have to tell you what the blue room is. As a part of my Unity training, I spent 4 different weeks at Unity, 4 classes. And then one of those weeks, I think it was the first one I was there. I think Donna was there with me. We took a tour of Unity Village. Unity Village has a number of buildings, administration building, a lounge in the cafeteria and a dining area, a bookstore, the Silent Unity building. And underneath all of those buildings is a series of tunnels. They're really good if you want to go from one building to another and it's not very nice weather outside. And if a tornado might come, as it does in the Kansas City area from time to time, it's a great place to take refuge. A little confusing sometimes getting through those tunnels and finding the right place to come out at. But one day we took the tour and the tunnels provided the route. As we went down the main tunnel under the administration building, we stopped and took a look to our left, and there was the publishing area for Unity. Unity has been involved in publishing since the very beginning. And that publishing area is still super important to Unity today. But we turned down into that publishing area and walked with printing presses on one side and collating on another side, an area for shipping, graphic area, the whole of the printing operation. We walked through that quite long tunnel and we got eventually to a big carved door, beautifully carved door. And it was opened and we walked into the blue room. Something there was about that blue room. We were just bathed in blue light. The artwork in there was phenomenal. Bits of glass put in concrete like a mosaic all over the area. The glass, I understand, was picked up by Unity workers and put together on site. Domed ceiling and wonderful arches in there. That was what had been the entry to the publishing area for many years, the blue room. It also led to other parts of the building. There were 8 of these carved, beautifully ornate doors in the room. And it was in that room that I felt a holy hush. You didn't even want to whisper. And when I look back on it, that was the time at which I moved from thinking I was a physical being, maybe having a little bit of a spiritual experience, to knowing that I was a spiritual being, even though I was having a physical experience. So as I got to that, I had a sense of knowing and remembering, reaching down into the core of me and remembering who I truly was. So remembering who I truly was and truly am, I go on to the second part of our truth today. I am grateful to the divine. Now, the divine, of course, is a huge sense of something. For me, what I use to make to work as my word for God is all that is, as much as I can imagine or more. Now, with the James Webb telescope out there, we're learning that our universe is even larger and larger, and there are universes beyond that we never knew about before. All that is the divine. But also that divine, that all that is, that spirit, that source, whatever name you would be comfortable with, that source is also connected to me. I am an expression of that divine source. Sometimes we talk about it as being a spark, like a little spark. The universe, all that is, being the great sense of light, but us being a spark, having the very same nature as the divine. This is true for me. I've gone across a bridge to where I believe that to the core of my being, and believing it, it is so. You can't convince me otherwise. So if I am grateful to the divine, it is not because the divine is something separate than me, but that I am a part of that. I am a unique expression of that divine, that for whom we think of qualities like wisdom and love and imagination and strength and power. Some of those 12 powers that are also our abilities. And then we sometimes think of that divine in terms of our, and you like this, Marianne, our 4 omnis. All powerful, all knowing, all present and everywhere present, and all good, omnibeneficent. So I am remembering today to be thankful to the divine for that legacy that I have been given to let me participate in that divinity. Our friend Meister Eckhart has another quote that I like that brings out this truth of my connectedness to the divine. Here's what Meister Eckhart says. The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one seeing, one knowing, one love. I like that so much, I want to say it again. The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one. One eye, one seeing, one knowing, one love. One more thing I couldn't help but share with you as I remembered this poem by Rumi, which talks about this connectedness and very much in the idea of oneness, which is the sum total of that connectedness, divine, me, every other spark, every other expression of the divine. And here's Rumi's poem. Say I am you. I am dust particles in the sunlight. I am the round sun. To the bits of dust I say stay. To the sun, keep moving. I am morning mist and the breathing of every evening. I am wind in the top of the grove and surf on the cliff. Mast, rudder, helmsman, and keel. I am also the coral reef they founder on. I am a tree with trained parrot in its branches, silence, thought, and voice. The musical air coming through a flute, a spark of a stone, a flickering in metal, both candle and the moth crazy around it. Rose and the nightingale lost in the fragrance. I am all orders of being, the circling galaxy, the evolutionary intelligence, the lift and the falling away. What is and what isn't. You who know Jelahudin, you are the one in all. Say who I am. Say I am you. So say thank you to the divine. Sometimes we call that praise. Praise was a part of that, one of the songs, that opening song that you sang, Phyllis. And we sang it with you. Or we tried to. You did better than we did. As you probably remember, whenever I have an opening prayer, I started with, as I start most of my prayers, if I speak them aloud, God of all goodness, we are grateful. So today we remember to say thank you to the divine God of all goodness. We are grateful. But remembering who we truly are and being grateful to the divine, we also are grateful to every divine expression. We talked about the sparks, being a spark of the divine. Well, it's not only you and I that are sparks of the divine. It is, in fact, all of creation, a spark of the divine essence. We are same in nature. The trees, the seas, all is of the nature of the divine. For us, we are fully human, fully divine. And we remember to say thank you to all those other sparks of the divine, every other divine expression. There's a organization called the Native American Rights Fund. And annually, they come out with a Thanksgiving address. I was reading the address and I noticed that not only do the Native Americans give thanks to the Great Spirit, they give thanks to people, sparks of the divine, Mother Earth, the sun and moon, the fish and the animals, grateful to this. This is their prayer. Grateful to each of these, grateful to plants and medicinal herbs. Yes, to all of them. All of those sparks of the divine, gratitude to them. It's my desire to bring into my awareness that these are blessings for which to be grateful for. Now, how do I do all these things? How do I remember who I am? How do I give gratitude to the divine? How do I give gratitude to every spark of the divine? How do I say thank you? You know, when I say this, it's a little chilly in here. I can't figure out why. We're all chilly. Let's warm us up. So just think warm. Just think warm.
Yes, imagine a nice fire.
That's right. Imagine a nice fire.
Our hands.
So how do we do all of this? Last week, I don't know, do you remember that little exercise that I suggested, that we count our blessings and number a number down a sheet of paper and write the little blessings that we tend to be unaware of that escape our consciousness? Well, it's not so easy to do those little exercises. I found it took me until Saturday until I started it a couple of times, but I didn't really do it. Finally, Saturday, I got it down. So I encourage you, if one of these exercises, one of these, how do I do that? If they call to you, hang with it, and you'll get there. So 3 simple things. I say, find which one calls to you or which ones, and give them a try. Number 1, times of stillness. Meister Eckhart again. Nothing in all creation is so like God as stillness. I don't mean deep meditation. I don't mean taking your mind and getting it absolutely still so you're thinking nothing. That's a reach, and you may get there. Tough one though. But stillness, we can do that. We can start by stilling the body. Have you known anybody who just had to be active all the time? They were always moving. I'm not quite like that, but I'm always thinking about moving if I'm not moving, what I should be doing or what I'm going to do next. Take time to be still. When you can get yourself physically still, reach a little further. Still your emotions. You get to choose your emotion, you know. Still your emotions. And to the degree that you can, still your mind. You can do that perhaps just by breathing, being present to the moment. So number one way, engage stillness. Sometimes in that stillness, you will actually go into meditation. You'll spend a time of reflection. And I suggest a number two way to do that is to do as many of you already do, I know. Write about it. Put it on paper. Take this simple question, or fill in the blank, if you will. I am blank. In a time of meditation, plumb the depths of your soul and let your pen do the writing. I am. You'll learn something about yourself. You'll learn something about your very nature. And a third thing, say thank you aloud to all of these sparks of the divine. Of course, your friends that do nice things for you, those who give you gifts, those that you're really blessed by, you're going to say thank you to them. But how about every spark of the divine? How about the guy or the gal that insults you? Maybe even purposefully insults you. You ever think about responding with another insult? Of course I have, but I'm guessing you might have too. Something to kind of try to even the score. How about trying this? Say thank you. You might upset their apple cart a little bit too when they know they've insulted you. But say thank you, because all things do work together for good. Whatever that insult may have been, it's there for you to take an opportunity to move just a little bit higher. And then all of those sparks of the divine around you in nature, wherever, everything is included. Just say thank you. Walk outside and hear the birds. Say thank you. I know some of you all love the birds. Say thank you to the birds. Thank you to the rocks, the trees, the sun, or anything. Whatever comes into your awareness, say thank you. Try doing it out loud. It'll bring that more into your awareness, so you will be fully aware of all that you are gifted with, all that is your legacy, all that you are connected to as you're connected to those other sparks of the divine. So I come back to that key spiritual truth, remembering who we truly are. We are grateful to the divine and to every divine expression. And so it is. Phyllis is